First off, the Raiders obviously were comfortable with their starters and gave the established ones a night off. Derek Carr and most of the starting offense didn't even suit up this game. The only exceptions were the offensive tackle positions, as both Adal Alexander and Marshall Newhouse played the tackle position. Overall, not too worried about the offense. They know what they're doing and will be fine once the real season comes. At number 2, the defense looked awful. The only players who sat out were Bruce Irvin and Khalil Mack. The rest of the defense is so unsettled, and the Cardinals' offense went up and down the field. It didn't matter if it was Carson Palmer or Drew Stanton. They had their way with our defense. Now, the Cardinals do have one of the high-octane offenses with a deep wide receiver core, but there should have been much more resistance. The middle of the defense seemed to always be open for the Cardinals, and that was a problem for the Raiders last year. Hopefully, that gets cleared up soon, because that problem is really concerning. At number 3, Carl Joseph showed up. He looked quick and laid the wood on a couple of plays. He was quick and seemed to always be around the ball. He did give up a touchdown, but the quarterback had gotten outside the pocket. Joseph covered his tight end for a long time, but was caught at the end. Joseph's coverage wasn't the problem. It was our next observation. At number 4, there was no pressure from the defensive front. The only noticeable pressure came off blitzes. Now, Mack and Irvin weren't there, but there was nothing most of the time to make the quarterback uncomfortable. Vanderdoss and Edwards got some push from the inside occasionally, but there was nothing from the sides. James Cowser had a few snaps, but the far larger problem was Shalik Calhoun. He's supposed to be the third rusher after Mack and Irvin, but didn't provide much of anything. On the touchdown pass by Stanton, Calhoun didn't provide any pressure and allowed Stanton to go outside the pocket. Not a good day from the pass rush in the first half. At number 5, we have a positive note. Corey James was flying around the field and making tackles on defense. He looked aggressive and got pressure on the quarterback a few times. The larger note was Marquel Lee played a lot of snaps on defense. He played about as good as you can expect from a 5th round pick. He had his moments and didn't look lost out there. The main problem was he was asked to cover Andre Ellington one-on-one. He's going to lose that battle every time, no matter how much experience he has. That is more of a problem of design rather than the player. There really isn't much of a game plan in the preseason, but hopefully Lee isn't asked to cover anyone one-on-one in the open field. Now for the big negative. Sean Smith, the $10 million corner, looked awful on the field. He began the game by being called for pass interference, and it didn't get much better from there. He was beat on multiple occasions, including a slow go where he bit and the play should have been a touchdown. He had a pretty rough start and hasn't gotten much better. He really needs to step up and get back to Sean Smith, who can play cornerback. There wasn't much of an actual starting offense out there, but the Titans looked to be much more involved this game. Last year, the Titans were overlooked, but Clyde Wolford had himself a big game. He had 3 catches, including a beautiful grab before the end of the first half. If the Raiders are able to get more production out of Wolford as well as Jared Cook, this offense will be even more dangerous. The Raiders' 7th round duo of Trayvon Hester and Shalon Luani had a pretty good game. Hester had 2 sacks and provided pressure up the middle. That is a big deal considering the Raiders got no pressure from the interior of the defense last year. Luani nearly had an interception after a great read, but he dropped the ball. He was always around the ball and looks like a solid depth piece at safety. The backup quarterbacks look good. E.J. Manuel completed all but 2 of his passes, but failed to lead the Raiders to a touchdown. Connor Cook's stats were less good looking, but he led a few touchdown drives in the second half. If all goes well, neither quarterback will have to start this year, but they both look like they know what they're doing in the offense. Now, the biggest thing to remember is it's game 1 of the preseason. Some are panicking about the defense and the Raiders overall. The lack of preparation and game planning creates a lot of man-to-man, and not all Raiders players are designed for man-to-man. The important thing is for the Raiders defense to learn off this and create more pressure, and the secondary communicates better. Luckily, the Raiders play the Rams and their low-powered offense next week. If Jared Goff has his way with our defense, then the team is in big, big trouble.